LNG in the energy transition is a crucial part. It's a crucial part today, and it's going to be a crucial part for a long time to come. It's a readily available commodity. It's very fungible. It can be shipped almost anywhere. The infrastructure is growing on a global basis. And it's a tremendous fuel for underpinning the global energy transition. And of course, switching to gas from coal makes enormous sense, not just in the developed world, but in the developing world as well. You know, we all know the impact gas has on air quality, cutting emissions, and we saw that in America after the shale revolution. So, you know, it's well documented and well understood that gas is the fuel of choice. However, it has to be affordable. But we have to continue with the replacement of coal with gas. We're seeing an enormous amount of new coal-fired generation on a global basis in the developing world as well as the developed world. And if we look at ASEAN specifically, by 2025, ASEAN will be the third largest coal-consuming region in the world. You know, we have to tackle this baseload coal-fired power. That's the easiest way of getting on the journey to the goals that we all need as part of this energy transition. And I might just add that, you know, in support of that, the United States is a huge opportunity with tremendous low-cost resources of gas available to be produced as LNG and to be supplied on a global basis to underpin, as I said, a sensible and cost-effective energy transition. It's the most fungible fuel we can use in the pursuit of global decarbonization that we all strive for. Okay, so trading of LNG in Asia. This is kind of, you know, a two-part situation. Firstly, the steep and deep volatility that we're seeing in LNG pricing as we head into the winter is creating all sorts of opportunities for traders, just as it did last winter. So there is no doubt that as we enter this period of undersupply of LNG in the coming years, before the new projects come on stream, it will create a lot of volatility, and volatility creates opportunity for traders. So, you know, the future looks good if you're an LNG trader. However, what we require is long-term energy security and less volatility if we are to have gas and LNG underpinning the energy transition. It's not sufficient that we have gas at a very high price on a continuous basis. We need markets to determine the balance of supply and demand. And clearly we are undersupplied today. And clearly projects like Driftwood promoted by Tellurian are going to help in repositioning the balance between global supply and global demand. So the theme for Singapore Energy Week in 2021, advancing the energy transition. So it's important when we think about the energy transition that we think about a coordinated, cost-effective approach that will deliver what we need the energy transition to deliver. Now that means that society, politicians, and industry all have to work together in a coordinated way to deliver what I would call a rational transition. Now that needs to recognize a number of things. It needs to recognize that hydrocarbons are not the enemy. Hydrocarbons in the transition are your friend. Hydrocarbons are going to underpin the move to decarbonizing energy sources. Hydrocarbons will provide a cost-effective transition. One of the things we have to avoid is picking technologies which are high cost, which will ultimately be passed on to the consumer, as we are seeing today in parts of Europe with very, very high and rising electricity prices. We have to consider the full life cycle impacts, environmental impacts, carbon impacts of all forms of energy, be it hydrocarbons, be it wind, be it solar, or any other new technologies that we are contemplating, hydrogen, ammonia, and so on. We have to look at the life cycle environmental impact. And we have to be honest in our carbon accounting as we think about the contribution they are making to the holistic decarbonizing efforts that we're all seeking. And finally, we have to think about energy for all. We have to think about energy for the 8 billion people on this planet. It's easy for us to think in the developed world about energy for the 1 billion people. We have to think about how we supply energy to develop these economies. And that means thinking about energy transition, energy sources, energy security, energy affordability on a global and not just a limited regional or OECD or developed world basis.